Shalom, shalom, everybody. We're here again for another Sabbath class. So let us have a moment of silence with a prayer. Okay. Oh Lord, we come before Thee this day, seeking wisdom, courage, discernment, and understanding. Let the scriptures be made plain in the sight of Thou that Thou hast placed upon us. The confusion of faith as we are this day. All praises upon Thee for great and powerful Thy might. We submit to Thee this day, O Lord of hosts, in showing the Lord of hosts is showing His hand more and more with every passing day. O Lord, help us to wrap our minds around Israel's departure from the lands of their captivity. O Lord, You command us to draw nigh unto Thee, and You, Lord, will draw nigh unto us. We come before Thee in praise because Thou art needed. Thou art needed very much so in this hour. All praises unto Thee. Okay, so with that being said, I was talking earlier this morning about how the name of the, how I was drawn to the fact that everything is focused around the Most High name. That's why I keep on stressing about it. So His name was taken away at the time when our forefathers was kicked out of the land when Antioch Epiphanes came. Then His name was taken away, was taken off the scene. Psalm 83 tells you that, and the name is tied to our the reason why we in the predicament we in as far as the knowledge and the understanding. It got us off, and so no sooner than we get His name, and that opens up the door for us to return and the confusion to go away. So it's all hinging off His name. So with that being said, I want to shine light on that. So, and then I wanted to talk about the fact that they had we've been witnessing for the last year or so, and we talked about it Thursday about how the they had the year return, but that's only one facet of what they got going on. We found out about the year of people of African descent, and we found out about the decade of people of African descent, and then we found out about the Agenda 68, which is they looking forward to all the things that we see happening now manifesting itself by 2068. Africa's gonna be the center of the world. That's what they got projected. They're slowly doing away with America, and they're slowly building up Africa and all that area over there where Africa, Northeast Africa, and all that. They're building that up, and then they also have Agenda 2030, which is what I want to shine light on today, because we kind of talked about that Thursday, but I was looking at this video, and it's like 3 minutes, 54 seconds. It's called Ghana Beyond Return. And it's and so you say, what is that? Well, we know we witnessed last year, 2019, they had the year of return. And supposedly, it was Kufuor, the president of Ghana, supposed to be the one that came up with all this and spearheaded it. But we know it goes higher than that. It's Esau and the powers that be, the Illuminati, that's just dealing with this, because that's what they want. They looking, they know that America is going to fall, and so they just relocating like they did in the past. They relocating to another location before this fall. And so on the video it said that they have Ghana beyond the return. So last year was the year of return, 2019. Now they have, and supposedly it's tied to the 400 years, which is in Genesis chapter 15. And so now they come out with Ghana beyond the real year of return. And so what is that? Well, they got a 10-year projection that Ghana is going to be and one of the leading cities in the world by 2030. So what they tell us, well, we know about the Agenda 2030. So if you add 10 years to 2020, 2030. So we see Esau playing. Like I said, he have our records, and he done tampered with our records and flipped our books all around, and he got a hidden plan. Like I said, you can compare it to the Roadrunner and the Coyote. When the Roadrunner sawing the bottom up under the Coyote little by little, he unaware of it. And then you're gonna look up and the bottom that fell out. And so that's what they're doing. When you look at and put all these pieces together, you can see what they're doing, going step by step. And so, like I was saying before, when you go to events that the Illuminati, the so-called powers that be, Esau, been done before with the money. They put these events, right in your face. But if you don't know how to decipher it and get discernment from the Most High, you're not gonna see it. So everything that they put on the money didn't happen. So the reason I'm saying that is like I keep saying over and over again. We're in a place unlike a lot of people. So this stuff gonna happen. So you have to start wrapping your mind around it now. You can't be saying that, get lackadaisical because it's gonna happen. And we see how they doing it. It's a little bit here, a little bit there, just like the Most High. Esau was raised by Abraham, just like Jacob was. So when the Most High brought the Israelites out of Egypt, he told them he was going to drive those 7 nations of the Canaanites out of the land little by little. So they're going to look up, and they don't see the progress what the Most High doing till they look up, and they're outside, they've been driven out. But that's what Esau doing. He got the same concept. He's doing everything little by little, and you ain't paying no attention to it, but he's slowly making progress on it. And we see it through all these different agendas and projects and projections that they got. It's slowly happening. And so, like I said, we saw how that on the video about the royal family, British royal family, how they had put Trump to King Arthur's round table and anointed him. And the guy said that very few people get knighted like that. Very few people. So they did this before he became president. So they already it was already a projection. So that kills the Constitution. It kills the voting process. They already knew what they were going to do with him before he had the election.
Right.
And so now we see what he on the scene now, and look what he's doing. They're using him. He the face. He wrecking havoc all over the place, but they're using his face to do it when he ain't nothing but a puppet. We know what Esau behind. Yeah. So, like I said, those things have to be understood. And so now all of a sudden, the lady, they brought the ambassador on the scene, then she supposedly got fired, and but she's constantly putting out videos, steady moving forward, and so you have to ask yourself, where's she getting this authority from? And then now, this morning, she put a video out about participating in the 2020 census and going along with Trump. She pretty much endorsing Trump. So like I said, they got all these moving parts, but you got to be able to discern because we don't want to get fooled like we did with Jesse Jackson and Martin Luther King and all them, because they set us up with that. They set us up with Obama. Yeah, so that's the reason I was revealing this, because we can't get caught up in that again. I mean, just like in the church, T.D. Jakes and all them guys, them ain't nothing but puppets, moving parts to keep you throwed off. They crash dummies. So okay. So with that being said, I want to move into the lesson, okay? And my title of my lesson is the Lord's books have been found, Okay? And so when Israel was, let me get this good. When Israel was brought into the land of Canaan, the land of milk and honey, they required of the Lord a king. And the Lord hearkened unto Israel and gave them a king. But he made a covenant with Israel and their king, that the king must at all times have a copy of the law, which is the book of Deuteronomy, with him at all times in order to guide him. And so I'm going to read that right quick so we can stay on point. That's in Deuteronomy chapter 17. Okay. Deuteronomy 17, 14 through 20. It says, when thou art come into the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, and shall possess it, and shall dwell therein, and shall say, I will set a king over me, like as all the nations that are about me. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose. One from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother. But he shall not multiply horses to himself, nor cause the people to return to Egypt, to the end that he should multiply horses. For as much as the Lord hath said unto you, ye shall henceforth return no more that way. Neither shall he multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn not away. Neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold. And it shall be, this is the verse I'm going to, and it shall be, when he sitteth upon the throne of his kingdom, that he shall write him a copy of this law in a book out of that which is before the priests and the Levites. And it shall be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life, that he may learn to fear the Lord his God, to keep all his words of this law and these statutes, and to do them, that his heart be not lifted up above his brethren, and that he be turned not aside from the commandments, to be to the right hand or to the left, to the end that he may prolong his days in his kingdom, he and his children in the midst of Israel. So in reading that right there, we know that I read it over and over again. That David, part of David's last words in 2 Samuel was that in his lifetime, he was old. He was getting ready to be gathered to his fathers. He said that he learned not to go to the right hand or to the left. He learned to stay on the straight and narrow with the Most High. And this is one of the Most High commandments to them before they got a king. Verse 20 says that his heart be not lifted up above his brethren, and that he turn not aside from the commandments to the right hand or to the left. David learned that. To the end that he may prolong his days in his kingdom, he and his children in the midst of Israel. And if you notice that all the ones that did this right here, they ruled Israel for a long time. The ones that didn't, they was taken out of, shortly before they can get on the throne, good, they was out of there. So the ones that did this right here, which is a commandment that the Most High gave them, they stayed on the throne for a long time. And so, with that being said, I want to go to, Israel parted from the book of the law, this book that he told the king to keep with him for many, many years until the time of Josiah, the king. Hilkiah the priest found the book of the law and gave it to Shaphan, the scribe, who in return read it before Josiah the king. So I'm going to read that. It's in 2 Kings 22. Going to 1 through 13. Let me get it right quick. Okay. It says, Josiah was 8 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 31 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Jedediah, the daughter of Ediah of Bash, and he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, and he walked in all the ways, in all the way of David, his father, and turned not aside from the right hand or to the left. There you go again. And we know that David ain't none of Josiah's son, but Josiah is an example of the Most High had with the promise he made David, that every time Israel gets to a certain point where they get off, he's going to bring up a seed likened unto him. That's a covenant. So Josiah is part of that covenant he got with David. That's why it's saying that he walked in all the ways of David. 3, and it came to pass in the 18th year of King Josiah that the king sent Shaphan, son of Azariah, the son of Meshullam, the scribe, to the house of the Lord, saying, "Go up to Hilkiah the high priest, that he may sum the silver which is brought into the house of the Lord, which the keepers of the door have gathered of the people, and let them deliver it into the hands of the doers of work that have the oversight of the house of the Lord, and let them give it to the doers of work which is in the house of the Lord, to repair the breaches of the house, unto the carpenters, the builders, the masons, and to buy timber and hew stone to repair the house. Howbeit there was no reckoning made with them of the money that was delivered into their hands, because they dealt faithfully." So Most High impressed upon Josiah to send Shaphan. Josiah is concerned with, because the Spirit of Most High on him, the Spirit of David, he could have pressed upon him to go and get the money to repair the house. The house is in, the temple is in need of repair. Not understanding that it's a hit, the Most High got another agenda. When you understand how he works, that's how he works. So it says 8, Hilkiah, the high priest, said unto Shaphan the scribe, "I found the book of the law in the house of the Lord." And Hilkiah gave the book to Shaphan, and he read it. And Shaphan the scribe came to the king and brought the king's word again, and said, "Thy servants have gathered the money that was found in the house, and have delivered it into the hands of them that do the work, that have oversight over the house of the Lord." Okay, so he accomplished what Josiah sent him to do, but the Most High got his agenda. 10, and Shaphan the scribe showed the king, saying, "Hilkiah the priest have delivered me a book." And Shaphan read it before the king. And it came to pass, when the king had heard the words of the book of the law, that he rent his clothes. And the king commanded Hilkiah the high priest, and Achan the son of Micaiah, and Shaphan the scribe, and Ashiah the servant of the king, saying, "Go ye, inquire of the Lord for me and for the people and for all of Judah concerning the words of this book that is found. For great is the wrath of the Lord that is kindled against us, because our fathers have not hearkened unto the words of this book, to do according to all that which is written concerning us." So Hilkiah the priest, and Ahikam, and Ichabod, and Shaphan, and Ashur went to Hilda, the prophetess, the wife of Shua, the son of Tiva, the son of Horses, keeper of the wardrobe. Now she dwelt in Jerusalem in the college, and they communed with her. Okay, so let me go to chapter 23. So Josiah found Hilkiah found the book, gave it to Shaphan. Shaphan went and read it to Josiah. So you got to keep in mind, the book was lost. Okay, and so they was off doing something else. They ain't don't have the truth. But when he brought the truth before the king, and the king read it, and he had the Spirit of the Most High on him, it moved him. He responded to it. He responded to the book. Okay. One minute. So when the truth came to him, the word was the book of the Deuteronomy was read to him, being who he was, and the spirit that was on him, he responded to it. He ain't had no second thoughts about it. He responded to it. So I'm gonna pick it up in let me see where I'm at. I'm gonna pick it up in 23, chapter 23, verses 1 through 3. It says, and the king sent, and they gathered unto him all the elders of Judah and Jerusalem. And the king went up into the house of the Lord, and all the men of Judah and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem with him, and the priests and the prophets, and all the people, both small and great. And he read in their ears all the words of the covenant, which was found in the house of the Lord. And the king stood by the pillars and made a covenant before the Lord to walk after the Lord and to keep his commandments and his testimony and his statutes with all their heart and all their soul, to perform the words of this covenant that were written in this book. And all the people stood to the covenant. So now they got the keys. The guy found the book, gave it to the scribe gave it to the king, and the king responded to it, gave it to the people, and the people stood up and they conformed to the covenant. So after that, we go to 2 Kings 23 and 21 when the Passover was restored, but they still got to deal with the sin, all the sin they were doing up until that point. So you got to keep in mind right here, this is before the Babylonians came. And the prophet that was in place at the time was Jeremiah. So Jeremiah is one, he warning them about the Babylonians coming. He ain't warning nobody about today. He warned them, Jeremiah is in place to warn Israel about the Babylonians coming, the people from the north. So it says, 2 Kings 23, verse 21 through 23 says, and the king commanded all the people, saying, keep the Passover unto the Lord your God, as it is written in the book of this law. They're keeping the Passover because they're in the land. Surely there was not holding such a Passover from the days of the judges that judged Israel, nor in all the days of kings of Israel, nor the kings of Judah. But in the 18th year of King Josiah, when this Passover was holding to the Lord in Jerusalem. Okay, now, so I'm going to read the reason why the Babylonians came. And when I'm reading this, you got to keep in mind what's going on with us today and the reason why we over here. So 24 says, 2 Kings 23, verse 24, moreover, the workers with the familiar spirits, the wizards, and the images, and the idols, and all the abominations that were spied in the land of Judah and in Jerusalem did Josiah put away, that he might perform the words of the law which were written in the book that Hilkiah the priest found in the house of the Lord. And like unto him was there no king before him that turned to the Lord with all his heart, and with all his soul, and with all his might, according to all the law of Moses. Neither after him arose there any like him. So let's look at that, because we look at Solomon, and we look at how Solomon started and all that Solomon did, right? But 25 says, and like unto him was there no king, that includes Solomon, before him that turned to the Lord with all his heart, and with all his soul, and with all his might, according to the law of Moses. Neither after him arose there any like him. Notwithstanding, the Lord turned not from the fierceness of his great wrath, wherewith his anger was kindled against Judah, because of all the provocation that Manasseh had provoked him withal. So let's look at that, because we gotta get a proper understanding. So they came along when we was kicked out, and Esau came in and possessed the land of Israel, posing as Israelites, and they took the concept from Egypt, from the Egyptian Book of the Dead, and they concocted JC. And they tell us that he came and he died on the cross for our sins, and that our sins been done away with. Well, Israel, Mosiah told them before he gave them a king, which I just read, that he was going to give them a king, and they had to have a copy of the book of the law. And the king had to read that on a daily basis all his life so he can stay on point. But they went away from that. And when they went away from that, they ended up doing all kind of crazy stuff, which I'm going to read in a minute. So they started doing all kind of crazy stuff. But then he brought Josiah, one man. And Josiah, it tells you he had a zeal for the Most High, unlike like Solomon and David. Ain't no king was like him. But that didn't turn away the Most High's wrath. So go to the story they gave you about JC. he comes and he down the cross and do all that. But we still got sins to be got to deal with. So that ain't turning away nothing. So just like Josiah did, let me read it again, 25. And likened unto him was there no king before him that turned to the Lord with all his heart and with all his soul and with all his might, according to the law of Moses, neither after him arose any like him. Notwithstanding, the Lord turned not from the fierceness of his great wrath for what they had done, although Josiah came with all his zeal, wherewith his anger was kindled against Judah because of all the provocations that Manasseh. He got Manasseh on his mind. Josiah can flip around there and do all what he want to do, but he still got to get at Manasseh. What Manasseh did and what their forefathers did. So he said, it had provoked him wither. And the Lord said, I will remove Judah, also out of my sight, and I have removed Israel, as I have removed Israel, and I will cast off this city, Jerusalem, which I have chosen, and the house which I said, which I said, my name shall be there. So he still was gonna do what he was gonna do with Israel, no matter what Josiah did. So we see what they're showing us in the New Testament. It ain't adding up. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the second Ezra right quick. I want to show you. I want to connect some dots for you. Like I said, they want you to think. We know that when the Antioch Epiphanies came and the Greeks came and the Romans came at the Council of Nicaea, he said that in Daniel that he was going to change times and laws and all that. So they're making you think that all this stuff is happening long periods of time in between each other. But let me read this right here. I'm in 1 Ezra, chapter 1, verse 1. So I just showed you the 2 Kings were Josiah was there, the 2 Kings. Now I'm in the apocryphal books, 1 Ezra. It says when Josiah, there ain't but one Josiah. So this links you to 2 Kings. When Josiah celebrated the Passover, we just read that over the Passover festival in Jerusalem to his Lord. He sacrificed the Passover on the 14th day of the first month, placing the priests in their divisions, clad in their vestments, in the temple of the Lord. And he ordered the Levites and the temple slaves of Israel to consecrate themselves to the Lord. When they put the holy chest of the Lord in the house of the Lord, which Solomon the king, son of David, had built, he said, you will not have to carry it on your shoulders anymore. So now worship the Lord your God and serve his people, Israel, and prepare yourselves by your families and kindred, as David, king of Israel, wrote, and with all the magnificence of Solomon his son, and take your places in the temple according to your ancestral groups as Levites before your brothers, the Israelites, in proper order. So he got an order. In proper order, he got an order. And sacrifice the Passover, and get the sacrifices ready for your brothers, and observe the Passover in accordance with the Lord's command which was given unto him. Now watch this. And Josiah gave the people that were present 30,000 lambs and kids, 3,000 calves. These were given out of the king's revenue as he promised to the people and to the priests and the Levites. And Hilkiah and Zechariah and Jehiel, the rulers of the temple, gave the priests for the Passover 2,600 sheep and 300 calves, and Jeconiah and Shema and Nathan, his brethren, and Abijah and Okel and Joram, colonels of regiments, gave the Levites for the Passover 5,000 sheep and 700 calves, and it was done. The priests and the Levites with the unleavened bread stood in the proper order according to their kindred and their family division before the people to make the let me get this right, to make the offering of the Lord, and it prescribed, and as it was prescribed in the book of Moses. This they did in the morning, and they roasted the Passover with fire in the proper way, and boiled the sacrifices in the cauldron and basins and the savory odors, and set them before. Okay, let me see what I read. To set them before all the people. Afterwards, they prepared some of for themselves and their brothers and the priests, and the sons of Aaron, for the priests were offering the fat until the late. So the Levites prepared meat for themselves and for their brethren and the priests, sons of Aaron, the second musicians, to the sons of Asaph, were in their places according to the regulation of David and Asaph and Zechariah and Idias, who were of the king's circle. Okay. Let me see where I'm at. Okay. Yeah, so I'm at 25. I'm at verse 25. It said, after all these things, so after he done all this, and so what you have to understand right here, he made all these sacrifices, just like Solomon did. He sacrificed all these lambs. What we just read right here, the Most High. That ain't turning the Most High from his anger, from the sins that their forefathers had done. It was magnificent and it was a doozy, but it ain't turning from what he had on his mind. He's still gonna bring Nebuchadnezzar. So 25 is where I want to go. After all these things, all these doings of Josiah, after he did all that, it happened that Pharaoh, king of Egypt, came to make war at Carmel on the Euphrates, and Josiah went out to encounter him, and the king of Egypt sent word to him saying, What do you want of me, king of Judah? I was not sent against you by the Lord, for war is on the Euphrates. My war is on the Euphrates. Now the Lord is with me. The Lord is with me, urging me on. Depart and do not oppose the Lord. Now this is what I want to show. This is what I want to shine light on. But Josiah would not turn back to his chariot, but tried to fight with him. So he out of order. He tried to fight with him. Look at this. Disregarding the words of Jeremiah. See that? Disregarding the words of Jeremiah the prophet, spoken by the mouth of the Lord, and doing battle with him in the plains of Megiddo. And the leaders fought against King Josiah, and the king said to his servants, Take me away from the battle, for I am sick. And his servants immediately took him out of the fray, and he got into the second chariot, and he was taken back to Jerusalem and departed to this life and was buried in the tomb of his forefathers. So what did Jeremiah tell him? This thing you have to ask yourself. It says, but Josiah would not turn back to the chariot, but tried to fight with him, disregarding the words of Jeremiah the prophet. Well, who talk about that? Nobody talks about that. What did Jeremiah tell him? So that's why it's so important to understand the chronology of this. So now you go to the book of Jeremiah. You're going to see what Jeremiah told him. So I'm in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 1. It says, you got it? Got it? Hello?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Got it.
The word of Jeremiah, the son of Hilkiah, the priest that was in Antioch in the land of Israel, to whom the word of the Lord came in the days of Josiah. See how it's all lined up? Josiah, son of Amos, king of Judah, in the 13th year of his reign. He came also in the days of Jehoiakim, son of Josiah, king of Judah, until the end of the 11th year of Zedekiah, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, until the carrying away of Jerusalem the captives in the 5th month. So, like I said, he's talking to us. He's talking to the Israelites at that time about Nebuchadnezzar coming. Can't read Jeremiah and reference it to the day, to us. You can do a comparison and contrast, but you can't read it as if he's talking to us. He's talking to us. So, verse 4 says, Then the word of the Lord came. The word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and before thou came forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. Okay? So now you go to Jeremiah 14. I'm going to read 14 through 19. It says, Then the Lord said unto me, out of the north, like I was saying, it's Babylon. You see the so-called prophets and all these and teachers and so-called Bible teachers, they want to make this out to be somebody coming out of the north in the future. But this is Nebuchadnezzar. He says, Then the Lord said unto me, out of the north, and evil shall break forth upon all the inhabitants of the land. For lo, I will call all the families of the kingdoms of the north, said the Lord, and they shall come, and they shall set every one his throne at the entering of the gates of Jerusalem, and against all the walls thereof round about, and against all the cities of Judah, and I will utter my judgment against them, touching all their wickedness, who have forsaken me and have burned incense unto other gods and worship the works of their own hands. Thou therefore gird up thy loins and arise and speak unto them all that I command thee. Be not dismayed at their faces, lest I confound thee before them. For behold, I have made thee this day a defenced city, and an iron pillar, and a brazen wall against the whole land, against the kings of Judah, against the princes thereof, and against the priests thereof, and against the people of the land. And they shall fight against thee, but they shall not prevail against thee, for I am with thee, said the Lord, to deliver thee. So we see right here that this is what he was telling Josiah. And Josiah wasn't trying to hear. That's how Josiah came up dead. But they don't show you that. They don't deal. And you can't even deal with this unless you're dealing with the Apocryphal book. You wouldn't even see that. So, like I was saying, verse 14 through 19 is showing you that this Babylon. And so how you gauge that is you go to the book of Judah. Let me read that right quick. I wasn't going to go there, but I got to go there, connect these dots. So if you go to the book of Judah, right quick. I don't want to get sidebarred. So he said he's going to raise up all the families from the north. So this is when you get a chance, I mean, you should read the book of Judah. It says, in the 12th year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, who ruled over the Assyrians. So the Assyrians came before the Babylonian kingdom came. So that place is right around the same time. That's what his king, that Josiah went up against. That's where he was headed, to fight against the Assyrians. He said, who ruled over the Assyrians in the great city of Nineveh in the days of when Arphaxad ruled over the Medes in Ecbatana. And Arphaxad built a roundabout. Anyway, it goes on down to Nebuchadnezzar, verse 7. Then Nebuchadnezzar, king of Assyria, sent to all the inhabitants of Persia and to all who lived toward the west, who were settled in Sicily, Damascus, and the Lebanon, and Antibal, and to Antibalan, and who lived along the seacoast, and the inhabitants of Carmel and Gilead that were heathens, and the upper Galilee, and the great plains of Escon, and to all that were in Samaria and its towns, and beyond Jordan, as far as Jerusalem and Betin, and Shephelah, and Kadesh, and to the river Egypt, Taphon and Ramesses, and all the land of Goshen, until you pass the Tanis and Memphis, and all who live in Egypt, until you reach the borders of Ethiopia. So that's what he means when he says that 15, Jeremiah 1 and 15, for lo, I will call all the families of the kingdoms of the north. That's right, I just read them. And so as this going on with Josiah and Jeremiah, he preparing this right here. He preparing Nebuchadnezzar. And the story is that Nebuchadnezzar sent to all those people to come and help him fight against the Assyrians, and nobody responded because they had no fear for Nebuchadnezzar. But the Most High, these 7 angels that the Most High had created in the very beginning, they with Nebuchadnezzar. He wicked as hell, just like we just saw how he was with Jehu Thursday night. And so these 7 angels went with Nebuchadnezzar, and he knocked off the Assyrians. And so that put fear in all these nations right here because of they couldn't believe he done it. But the biggest part about it was he had sent them notice, and they didn't respect it. And now he didn't won. So now the Most High had put on his mind to go back and chastise all of them. So we see his hand. He manipulating the whole scene right here. Okay? And so you got to ask yourself, why? Why? Well, because he gave them a book and told them to keep this book and told the king to read it on a daily basis so he can stay focused. They didn't do that for almost 500 years. So now he's musking up his response to what they did. They seen, and he's setting up the Babylonians to bring them. So, like I said, they lost the book. They ain't had the book, and they was God doing God knows what until Hilkiah found the book. And when he found the book, he read it and he responded to it, and he brought them out. He brought them back. But Moses still had to bring judgment for their sin. So I'm saying all that to say this. Okay, it says, Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 23. So I'm saying all that to, as I'm talking about this, keep in mind our predicament today. Because just like then, we had, Most High caused our books to be lost. We was told, but we see now that these books being found. And we're reading them, and it's one, like he said, the seed that's reading them, they responding to them. And they slowly come back around to the Most High. So it's nothing new under the sun. So Jeremiah chapter, let me get it. Jeremiah chapter 2, 1 through 8. Okay. Jeremiah chapter 2, 1 through 8. So this is what the apocryphal book in the first Ezra is alluding to about Jeremiah and the interaction between Jeremiah and Josiah. He says, moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, go and cry in the ears of Jerusalem, saying, thus saith the Lord, I remember thee, the kindness of thy youth, the love of thy espousal, when thou wentest after me in the wilderness, in the land that I was not sown. Israel was a holiness unto the Lord, and the first fruits of his increase. All that devour him shall offend. Evil shall come upon them, saith the Lord. Hear ye the word of the Lord, O house of Jacob, and all the families of the house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, what iniquity have your fathers found in me, that they are gone far from me, and have walked after vanity, and are become vain. Neither said they, where is the Lord that brought thee up out of the land of Egypt, that led us through the wilderness, through the land of the desert, and of the pits, through the land of drought, and of the shadow of death, through a land that no man passes through, and where no man dwelleth. So we have to ask that same question. I'm going to read verse 6 again. It says, neither said they, where is the Lord that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, that led us through the wilderness, through the land of the desert, and of the pits, through the land of the drought, and of the shadow of death, through a land that no man passes through, and where no man dwelleth. Jesus ain't do that. But we so caught up in the New Testament, what they gave us, that we can't ask this question, because we think Jesus done it. So verse 7 says, and I brought you into a plentiful country to eat the fruit thereof and the goodness thereof, but when you entered, you defiled my land and made my heritage an abomination. The priest said not, where is the Lord? And they that handle the law knew me not. We know they lost the book. So the pastors also transgressed against me, and the prophets prophesied by Baal. Same predicament now. And walked after things that do not profit. Okay? So, when you go to verse goes 16 through 19. It says, also the children of Nu and Terafru, chapter 3, verse 16 through 19. And it shall come to pass, when ye be multiplied and increased in the land, in those days, saith the Lord, they shall say no more the ark of the covenant of the Lord, neither shall it come to mind, neither shall they remember it, neither shall they visit it, neither shall that be done anymore. At that time they shall call Jerusalem the throne of the Lord, and all nations shall be gathered unto it, to the name of the Lord, to Jerusalem. Neither shall they walk anymore after the imaginations of their evil heart. So what I'm showing you right here is that every time if you go back in the scriptures, the Most High send them into captivity, and he tell them they're going into captivity, and at the same time he tell them he's going to deliver them. So we just read it where Jeremiah told them, Josiah included, that and Zedekiah and when you know the story, go to 2 Kings, he told all those kings that they were going into captivity, that the Babylonians were coming. But right here he's telling them that they're going to come out of Babylon. He ain't talking about in the future. He says right here in verse 17, at that time they shall call Jerusalem the throne of the Lord, and all the nations shall be gathered unto it, to the name of the Lord, to Jerusalem. Neither shall they walk any more after the imaginations of their heart. This is when Zerubbabel and Joshua came out. He brought them out of there. It says, now, and I'm going to show you that. Verse 18. In those days, the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel. So we see right here, the 12 tribes were brought back together. I showed you that in the second Ezra, the first Ezra. He brought them out. When they went, the 10 tribes went to Assyria. Nebuchadnezzar came, and then the Medes and Persians took over, and the 10 tribes were part of the Babylonian captivity, along with the southern kingdom. Then when Cyrus was brought on the scene, Cyrus turned both of them captivity, and both Judah and both the southern and the northern kingdom came back. In 18 tell you that right here. In those days, the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel, and they shall come together out of the land of the north. So if the land of the north over here is Babylon, this is the land of the north right here. So he's telling you right here, both tribes. Let me read it again. In those days, the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel. See that? Both all 12 tribes. And they shall come together out of the land of the north to the land that I have given for inheritance to your fathers. But I said, how shall I put thee among the children and give thee a pleasant land, a goodly heritage for the host of the nations? And I said, thou shalt call me my father and shall not turn away from me. So we see right here how I didn't lie to us. So he delivered all 12 tribes when they came out of Babylon. That's what the purpose of Cyrus was. He delivered all 12 tribes. And so, not to digress, says Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 23, I want to give you a correlation to there's nothing new under the sun as far as our books been lost, and they had books lost. When the Most High brought the book back in his time, in the appointed time, then it was a remnant there that received the books when they came back. But they were doing God knows what while the book was lost. Same thing now. Books was lost. Now we're getting the books back, but the seed responding to the books. So it says, Jeremiah 3:23 says, I beheld the earth, and lo, it was without form and void. No, I'm in the wrong place. 3 and 23 and Jeremiah 3:23. So I'm gonna start at verse 21st because I don't want to just pluck this verse out. It says, I'm in 20, Jeremiah 3:20. Surely a wife treacherously departed from her husband, so have ye dealt treacherously with me, O house of Israel, says the Lord. A voice was heard upon the high places, weeping and supplications of the children of Israel, for they have perverted their way, and they have forgotten the Lord their God. So they're up in these high places, worshiping these fallen angels off. All right? So because they're not dealing with the book of the law. But ain't that what we doing? We worship a whole other God. We off. We're dealing with a whole other God, a whole other process. So 21 says, a voice was heard upon the high places, weeping and supplications of the children of Israel, for they perverted their way. So they up there weeping for another God. They in the church house weeping, falling out and weeping in the church house with the wrong God. He says, a voice was heard upon the high places, weeping and supplications of the children of Israel, for they have perverted their way, and they have forgotten the Lord their God. They ain't dealing with the God. 22. Return ye backslidden children, and I will heal your backsliding. Behold, we come unto thee, for thou art the Lord our God. Now here we go, right here. This sum of our fathers and us. Truly in vain is salvation hoped for. So that's the same with us. Our salvation that we got in Jesus is in vain. What we hoping for in Jesus is in vain. It says, truly in vain is salvation hoped for from the hills, from the mountains, and from the multitude of mountains. So we know these high places up on these mountains, where these angels coming down on these mountains. So they're up there dealing with them. Truly in the Lord our God is salvation, salvation of Israel. So our salvation is in the Lord of hosts. But because they done away with the book, it was lost down in the bottom of the temple. They was all over the place, doing all kinds of stuff. But no sooner than Josiah found the book, him and Hilkiah and Stephen Then he rent his clothes, and he brought them back. But they had to get the books first. Okay, so it says the Most High asked a question in Jeremiah 4:14. And so you can write this down because you want to expound on it. It might not register at first, but I'm in Jeremiah 4:14. It says, "O Jerusalem, watch." Let me make sure where I'm at. Okay, 4:14 says, "O Jerusalem, wash thine heart from wickedness, that thou mayest be saved. How long shall thy vain thoughts lodge within thee?" That's what's happening now. The Most High uncovering the books. He uncovering his knowledge. He brings forth the knowledge. It's been hidden. We've been hoodwinked. And now he brings forth knowledge, and he's telling you right here, 14, "O Jerusalem, wash thine heart from wickedness, that thou mayest be saved. How long shall thy vain thoughts lodge within thee?" So, he's going to bring the information to you. So how long are you going to keep dealing with this whacked out understanding and these vain thoughts so that you can be saved? Okay? So with that being said, it says that I was doing a comparison contrast with the lost books of the Old Testament that we just not finding out about, and how that they had lost books back. They had lost books back then. It says, "Do we, the children of the descendants of Israel, not have missing books just as our fathers did? Our fathers, when they turned from the book of the law, which is part of the covenant, they ended up in the mountains, in the high places, worshiping other gods, Baal in particular, grove worship, and etc." So I'm gonna read that. It's in 2 Kings. So I don't want to just say something. Don't go to the scripture. 2 Kings. I want to read it out so you can see it. It's no different than what's going on today. 2 Kings chapter 23. (23) 4 through 20. Okay, I'm in 23, 4 through 20 says, "And the king commanded, let me see, 23, 4 through, and the king commanded Hilkiah the high priest and the priests of the second order and the keepers of the gate to bring forth out of the temple of the Lord the vessels that were made for Baal and for the grove and for all the hosts of heaven, and he burned them without Jerusalem in the field of Kedron and carried the ashes of them unto Bethel." So they during this period of time when that book was lost, this is what they were doing. So when he brought the reformer, he brought Josiah on the scene, Josiah burned all this. Let's look at it. "And the king commanded Hilkiah the high priest and the priests of the second order and the keepers of the door to bring forth out of the temple of the Lord all the vessels that were made for Baal." That's what we got to do. So you got to take the New Testament, like I said, sever it from the Tanakh, and you got to throw it away because it ain't got nothing to do with that. So it says, "Out of the temple of the Lord, all the vessels that were made for Baal and for the grove and for all the hosts of heaven, and burned them without Jerusalem in the field of Kedron and carried the ashes of them into Bethel." So he burned all of it, but he took it to Bethel, the house of God where Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob met the Most High at. And then 5, "And he put down the idolatrous priests." That's what we got to do. "Whom the kings of Judah had ordained to burn." They didn't ordain them today. "Burned in incense in high places in the cities of Judah and in the places round about Jerusalem. Them also that burned incense on the Baal, to the sun, to the moon, and to the planets, and to all the hosts of heaven." It's no different than today. And he brought out the grove from the house of the Lord. So they built a grove in the temple. He got to tie the grove down in the temple and bring it out. So it says, "Without Jerusalem unto the brook Kidron, and burn it at the brook Kidron, and stomp it small to powder, and cast the powder thereof unto the grave of the children of the people. And he break down the houses of the Sodomites that were by the house of the Lord, where the women wore hangings for the grove." See, same thing now. That's what the church is. That's what Christianity is. And he brought all the priests out of the cities of Judah and defiled the high places where the priests had burned incense, from Geba to Beersheba, and break down the high places of the gates that were in the entering of the gates of Joshua, the governor of the city, which was on a man's left hand at the gate of the city. Nevertheless, the priests of the high places came not up to the altar of the Lord in Jerusalem, but they did eat the unleavened bread among their brethren. And he defiled Tophet, which is in the valley of the children of Hinnom, that no man might make his son or his daughter to pass through the fire of Mullah. And he took away the horses that the king of Judah had given to the son. See this? So he said, the son, where they get horses that was dedicated to the son, they get it out of Egypt. Where the New Testament come from? Where Jesus come from? Out of Egypt. He says, and the altars that were 11. He took away the horses that the king of Judah had given unto the son at the entering in of the house of the Lord by the chamber of Nathan Melech, the chamberlain, which was in the suburbs, and he burned the chariots of the sun with fire, and the altars that were on the top of the upper chambers of Ahaz. We talked about Ahaz the other day. This is why he sent Jehu to kill him. See, he was doing this, which the king of Judah had made, and the altars which Manasseh had made in the two courts of the house of the Lord, did the king beat down and break them down from thence and cast the dust of them into the brook of Kidron. And the high places that were before Jerusalem, which were on the right hand of the mount of corruption, which Solomon, the king of Israel, had built it for Asherah, the abominations of the Zidons, and for Chemish, the abomination of the Moabites, and for Milcom, the abomination of the children of Ammon, did the king defile. And he brake in pieces the images and cut down the groves, and he filled the places with the bones of men. Moreover, the altars that were at Bethel and the high places which Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin, had made, both that altar and the high place, he brake down and burned the high place and stomped it down to powder and burned the groves. And as Joshua turned himself, he spied the sepulchres that were there in the mount, and took the bones out of the sepulchres and burned them upon the altar and polluted it according to the word of the Lord, which the man of God proclaimed these words. That's Jeremiah. It goes back to what I just read in First Ezra. Then he said, what title is that I see? And the men of the city told him, it is the sepulchre of the man of God, which came from Judah, and proclaimed these things that thou hast done against the altar of Bethel. And he said, let him alone, let no man move his bones. So they let his bones alone with the bones of the prophets that came out of Samaria. And all the houses also of the high places that were in the cities of Samaria, which the kings of Israel had made to provoke the Lord to anger, Josiah took away and did to them according to all the acts that he had done in Bethel. And he slew the priests of the high places that were there upon the altar, and burned their bones upon them, and returned to Jerusalem. So we see what he done, right? That's what that's how wicked is, and it's no different than now. It's like 100 times worse. But in the midst of all that, the Most High is bringing his books back. We get the books back, and we turn it back to him because we got the knowledge. He's putting the dots together, connecting the dots for us. Okay? So I want to read Jeremiah 4 and Jeremiah 4 and 14. Most High asked a question. You need to deal with it. Verse 14 says, O Jerusalem, wash thy hands from wickedness that thou mayest be saved. How long? I read it already. Okay, so just as the Greeks and the Romans, along with Esau, the woman in red, the harlot, has taken away our books and given us false gods, God gave us a false god, Jesus, to worship. That's in Psalm 83. Israel, our fathers, worshiped a false god, and the books of the law were lost. We have been turned from our Lord, the Lord of hosts, the strong one of Israel, the Redeemer of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And so I'm at this point right here, at this juncture, I want just for the people that's listening, somebody that might come across this lesson, I want them to know that the Lord of hosts is Michael. So we have to factor this into the equation that our Lord is not Jesus Christ; it's Michael the archangel, and so we know that because of one of the examples is in Daniel chapter 12. You don't have to go there. I'll read it right quick. Just for the people that might come across this lesson. It's Daniel 12:1 says, "And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even at the same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book." So, like I said, the title of this lesson was Most High's books have been found. Well, the book he's talking about right here is in Malachi. And the book of Malachi tells you right here that right before the Most High ran us out of the land, our forefathers put together a book. Let me give you the name of it. I'm in Malachi chapter 3, verse 16. "And they that feared the Lord spake often one to another, and the Lord hearkened and heard it, and a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared the Lord and that thought upon his name. And they shall be mine, said the Lord of hosts, in the day when I shall make up my jewels. I will spare them as a man spares his own son that serveth him. Then shall ye return and discern between the righteous and the wicked, between him that serveth God and him that serveth not." And I shine a light on that when we first started. So he brings us back to the proper understanding by bringing our books back. And then once we do that, he's going to start collecting his jewels. And we see that his jewels is the seed that's responding to what he's doing. And we see that, we look at that happen. Okay? And so, with that being said, I want to give you an account on our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And I want to give you an example when I tell you that the angel, the Lord of hosts, is an angel, and the angel that's dealing with, that we've been dealing with along of the New Testament, we can't see that. So I'm going to go to Genesis 18 right quick. This is pertaining to Abraham. It's a scriptural witness to that our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, were dealing with an angel. And we have to that means that we have to return to this angel, the Lord of hosts, in order for us to return, for anything to happen to us in the future, for us to return to our land. So it says in Genesis chapter 18, verse 1, "The Lord appeared unto him in the plains of Medah in the tent door, and he the day he lifted up his eyes and looked. Lo, 3 men stood by him, and when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door and bowed himself toward the ground. And he said, My Lord, if I have found favor in thy sight, pass not away, I pray thee, from thy servant." So we see that in verse 1, these 3 men is 3 angels. Abraham go to one of them and bow down to him and call him his Lord. Right? And so you say, well, what are you talking about? If you fast forward to verse 22, it says, we started out with 3 men. 22 says, "The men turned their faces from this, went toward Sodom, but Abraham stood yet before the Lord." So 2 angels in Genesis chapter 19 went to go get Lot, and one of the angels stayed with Abraham. So the Bible says, not me, verse 22, 18 and 22, "The men turned their faces from this, 2 angels went to Sodom, but Abraham stayed yet with the Lord." So anybody, a rocket scientist, you don't take a rocket scientist to see that. There's 3 angels, 2 of them went to Sodom, Abraham stayed with the other one. And he called them the Lord. So that's the count. That's the count of Abraham. And the count of Isaac is Genesis chapter 26. Genesis 26, I'm going to read 24 and 25. So we see Abraham, there's an angel that Abraham dealing with. The Lord is the Lord of hosts, is the angel, which is Michael. In the very beginning, the Most High created 7 angels. He was the first one. and he's the one that his name means he was like Yahweh. Okay, so 26, I'm going to read 26, 24, Genesis 26, verses 24 and 25. It says, this is when Isaac went down to deal with Amalek in Gerar. It says, and the Lord appeared unto him at the same night and said, I am the God of Abraham. Well, we know the God of Abraham. I just showed you in Genesis 18. Thy father, fear not, for I am with thee. I will bless thee, multiply thy seed for my servant Abraham's sake. And he built an altar there, and he called upon the name of the Lord, and pitched his tent there, and there Isaac's servants dug a well. So we see that the same angel that Abraham was dealing with, his son Isaac was dealing with. Now we're going to give you a witness to Jacob was dealing with the same angel. So you go to Genesis chapter 32. Okay. Genesis 32. Verse 24 through 29. Okay, 24 through 29 says, and Jacob was left alone, and then he wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said, let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. And he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel, for a prince has thou power with God and with men, and has prevailed. And Jacob asked him and said, tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, where is it thou doest ask after my name? And he blessed him. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. So when you understand that the same angel that Abraham dealt with in Genesis 18 and Isaac dealt with in Genesis 26, Jacob is dealing with the same angel in Genesis 32. But I want to shine light on what Jacob tells us, which is going to connect all the dots for Abraham and Isaac in Genesis 48. And you can read this stuff on your own time. I'm kind of speeding through it. Genesis chapter 48. I'm reading verse 10 through 13. Well, I'm gonna start up at verse 8 because to give you some clarity. Genesis chapter 48, verse 8. This is when Ephraim and Manasseh is getting blessed. It says, and Israel beheld Joseph's sons and said, who are these? And Joseph said unto his father, they are my sons, whom God hath given me in this place. And he said, bring them, I pray thee, unto me, and I will bless them. Now the eyes of Israel were dim for age, so that he could not see. And he brought them near unto him, and he kissed them, and he embraced them. And Israel said unto Joseph, I have not thought to see thy face, and lo, God hath showed me also thy seed. And Joseph brought them out from between his knees, and bowed themselves with his face to the earth. Joseph took them both, Ephraim in his right hand, toward Israel's left hand, and Manasseh in his left hand toward Israel's right hand, and brought them near unto him. And Israel stretched out his right hand and laid it upon Ephraim's head, who was younger, and his left hand upon Manasseh's head, guiding his hand willingly, for Manasseh was the firstborn. And he blessed Joseph and said, God, before whom my father Abraham and Isaac did walk, the God who fed me all my life long unto this day. So that means that the one that was with him when he went to Laban's house, the one he wrestled with, this God, verse 16 tells you where he is. 16 says, the angel which redeemed me from all evil, bless the lads, and let my name be named on them, and the name of my father Abraham and Isaac, and let them grow in the multitude into the midst of the earth. And when Joseph saw his father laid hands, so we see right here that it's an angel that they're dealing with. It may be some shock to you, but like I said, go back and read the verses again and let it ferment. But they're dealing with an angel. Okay? And so I was telling you that these this is an angel, and that the Most High created 7 angels in the beginning. Well, I'm gonna give you a confirmation on that. Then I'm gonna close. It says in Isaiah 43. Isaiah 43 says, in verse 10 says, we're dealing with the Lord, the Redeemer of Israel. It says, 10, ye are my witnesses. I just showed you who the witnesses was, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Said the Lord, and my servant whom I have chosen, that ye may know that, and believe me, and understand that I am he. Before me there was no God formed. So 7 angels formed. Nobody formed Yahweh. So he's telling you this angel, he's the first one that the Most High formed. Neither shall there be after me. Even I am the Lord. And besides me there is no Savior. I have declared, I have saved, I have showed that there was no strange God among you. Therefore ye are my witnesses, said the Lord, that I am God. Yea, before the day was, I am he, and there is none that can deliver out of my hand. I will work, and who shall let it? Thus said the Lord, your Redeemer. See that? Thus said the Lord, your Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. For your sake I have sent to Babylon, and have brought down all the nobles and the Chaldeans whose cries and shook. So like I was saying before, you go back and however many times you have to watch this, you watch it. But our predicament is that we're dealing with the wrong God, and what he's doing now is he's bringing his books back, these lost books, and we getting understanding. But my point is that the Most High's books been found. They was lost back in the days of Josiah, and Hilkiah and Stephen found them and brought them to Josiah, and he brought Israel back around. So the same thing is happening now. Like I said, it's nothing new under the sun. Okay? So, with that being said, and all that I read, anybody got any comments or questions? Any comments or questions?
I'm interested in how you were able to connect those dots, relating it to today.
Again?
I find it interesting. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
No, I said I find it interesting how you were able to connect the dots, relating it, to today with the churches, and how, we were doing the exact same stuff that our forefathers were doing.
Right, exactly. Right. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, with the proper, with the Most High, what he's doing, and uncovering these books, and then taking the time to read them and meditate on them, then our pictures start unfolding. And so that's what they've done. They kind of hide the understanding from us, but when you start getting these books and you start reading them and dealing with them and praying about it, then it starts uncovering. You start seeing what's going on. Right. So anybody else have anything?
Yeah, one question. You talked about the word sever. You sever the, I don't know, where do you draw the line in terms of New Testament, the Torah? I mean, where do you draw the line?
Well, what you have to do is it's 2 books rolled in one, and then you have to look at the fact that Malachi is the last book of the Old Testament. Well, the Old Testament is a God, and it's a God in the Old Testament. Then you have the New Testament. It's another God in the New Testament. So it's 2 different books. So you just cut it off in Malachi. Because in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, first of all, that's English names. A Gentile name. Why is it if the book is holy? Why did they write the men in the Old Testament by their names, the Hebrew names? Why they don't have the Hebrew names in the New Testament? Because it's 2 different. It's another race of people, and another book. They concocted. That's how you discern between it. And then you know, I was listening to something earlier today about how these pastors, you know, they've been trained. They go to seminary. That's their knowledge. The Most High told us to stay away from their knowledge. So they've been conditioned to deal with the New Testament. But if you just stop and look at it, any book got an ending to it. Well, when you get to Malachi, the page get blank. That should be a sign right there to tell you the book over with. But we so thrown off that we see it's the book to stop. Then we go read between the testaments and then go pick up and start in another book. Not seeing that that's two different books. But like I say, it just takes for an Israelite and somebody thinking like Israelite, it just takes somebody the Most High bring along to shine a light on it. And once they see it, like I said, they're gonna do like Josiah did. They're gonna latch on to it. Yeah. So anybody else have anything?
So do you feel comfortable with Daniel's description of the four beasts and making that cut right there at the New Testament?
Yeah, because like I was saying, Daniel, what happened with that situation that we've uncovered and found out is that the Most High is talking to Daniel and his emphasis. And when you read it, his emphasis is on the third beast. That the third beast is coming, and that is a king of fierce countenance is going to come at the end of the third beast and run the Gentiles out. And so you couldn't see that until we got hold to second Ezra. And then second Ezra tell you that this same angel that I just identified, Michael, Gabriel came to Ezra. He told Ezra, I'm coming to you to explain to you about the fourth beast, unlike I did to your brother Daniel. So then the clarity comes, because now we see that Daniel's emphasis was on the third beast. He alluded to the fourth beast, but he gave Ezra the in-depth understanding of the fourth beast. But we couldn't see that until we dove into second Ezra. Then the light was shined on. Did I ask the question?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, so anybody got anything else? Okay, before we get off the line, I got a golden nugget for you. You know, I know you're gonna like this. Anybody want the nugget, or we can get off the line? You got enough time for the nugget?
Let's have the nugget.
Okay. Okay, let me give you this golden nugget. Okay, I'm in Genesis. This is gonna blow you away now. Tie your shoes up. I'm in Genesis 26. I said I was gonna wait and bring this up on Wednesday, but it burned a hole in my pocket. Okay, Genesis 26. Let me see how I'm gonna do this. Genesis 26. I'm reading 26 through 33. Okay, and it says, okay, this the covenant that between Isaac and Amalek. Everybody know the story. Amalek was where Isaac went, and you know, he took Rebekah with him. Abraham went to the same place. That's when this is the same man that took Sarah from Abraham, and the Most High had to come and deliver her from it. But Abraham made a covenant with Amalek. After that, that's how Abraham became rich, because Amalek was a king, and he was very wealthy, and he endowed a bunch of wealth on Abraham, and he also gave Sarah. Hagar to Sarah. So I'm starting at verse 26. Then Amalek went to him from Gerar, and Agar, one of his friends, and Pekah, the chief of the captain of his army. So I'm going to shine a light on this right quick. So Pekah is the Lord of hosts for Amalek's army. So like I was saying, so when you understand, every kingdom got a Lord of hosts. The king is one person, the Lord of hosts is another one. So we know in the kingdom of God, which is in heaven, Yahweh is the king, and the Lord of hosts, which is Michael the archangel, which is the Redeemer, the strong one of Israel. That's by the book. So 27 says, Isaac said unto them, wherefore come ye to me, seeing ye hate me, and have sent me away from you? And they said, we shall certainly, we saw certainly that the Lord was with thee, and we said, let there be now an oath. Remember the oath? Well, we think the oath comes from the fallen angels, but the oath comes from the Most High. So then these fallen angels copying off of that's their way of binding you to whatever it is you're doing. So Amalek have good intentions for Isaac. He said, I see that the Lord is with you. So now he want to make an oath with him, a righteous oath. So he says, an oath between us, even between us and thee, and let us make a covenant with thee, that thou wilt do us no hurt, as we have not touched thee, and as we have done unto thee nothing but good, and have sent thee away in peace. Thou art now the blessed of the Lord. And he made them a feast, and they did eat and drink. And they rose up at bedtime in the morning, look at it, early in the morning, and swore one to another, and Isaac sent them away, and they departed from him in peace. And it came to pass the same day that Isaac's servants came and told him concerning the well which they had dug. And he said unto him, we have found water. And he called it Sheba. Therefore, the name of the city is Beersheba unto this day. So let's look at that. So he says Sheba. He called this place called Sheba. Therefore, the name of the city is called Beersheba. Right? We've been seeing this name all over the place. Look what the meaning is. The meaning of that word is, the word Sheba means oath, or it means an oath or seven. Right? That Sheba means oath of seven. Beersheba means the well of oath, or the well of seven. See that? Okay? So, now, go to Genesis 21. Let me show you something. That's Amalek dealing with Isaac. But in chapter 21.
I'm sorry, what book was that?
That's in Genesis.
No, the next one you said.
I'm in 21. Chapter 21.
Okay.
Okay. So in chapter 21, it says, 21, 1 through 5 says, and the Lord visited, hold up. Let me get this right. Verse 20, it's 22 through 34. I'm gonna read that. It says it's so they're making a covenant at the same place that Amalek and Isaac had earlier. Amalek had made a covenant with Abraham there. So it says in 22, and the word means Sheba means a well or seven, and Beersheba means the well of seven. So it says, and it came to pass at that time that Amalek and Pisgah, chief captain of his host, spoke unto Abraham, saying, God is with thee in all that thou doest. Now therefore swear unto me here by God that thou wilt not deal falsely with me, nor with any of my sons, nor with my son's son, but according to the kindness that I have done unto thee, thou shalt do unto me, and into the land wherein thou hast sojourned. And Abraham said, I will swear. And Abraham reproved Amalek because of the well of water which Amalek's servants had violently taken away. This the well of Beersheba. And Amalek said, I wot not who have done this thing, neither did thou tell me, neither yet heard I of it, but today. And Abraham took, look at this, Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave them unto Amalek, and both of them made a covenant. And Abraham, look at this, Abraham said, 7 ewe lambs of the flock by themselves. He said he took the 7 lambs out from among the flock and set them all by themselves. 7 male lambs. And Abraham said, 7 huge lambs of flock by themselves. And Amalek, look at this. Amalek said unto Abraham, what mean these 7 ewes, which thou hast set by themselves? What do you think it means? Anybody on the line, what do you think that means? Hello? What do you think these 7 huge lambs mean? There you go.
You should break it up a little bit.
So Amalek said unto Abraham, what mean these 7 huge lambs which thou hast set beside them? And he said, for these 7 huge lambs shall thou take of my hand, and they may be a witness unto me that I have dug this well. Wherefore he called the place Beersheba, because there they saw both of them. Thus they made a covenant at Beersheba. Then Amalek rose up and Bethel, the chief of the captain of the host, and they returned unto the land of Philistines. And Abraham planted a grove in Beersheba and called there the name of the Lord and everlasting God. So that's the same place. We've been reading over there because we don't have the understanding of it. But now that you see what the understanding of it is, and you go back and you start reading, you're gonna see that place all over the Bible. So that means, like I was saying before, when you understand that and understand what Enoch tells us about these 7 angels, when they was on Mount Sinai, he said that the 7 elders went up and they saw God in His fullness. So what he talking about? He saw Yahweh and the 7 angels was there when Moses and these 7 elders went up there. So right here, when he made this covenant, Amalek saw that. Abraham showed it to him. He saw it. That's why he could tell Isaac. He said, we can see that God with you. They can see it. And Abraham explained that to him. We know why he took these 7 male lambs out to the side. And so I don't know about nobody else, but I've been seeing that word all over the place, but it slipped my mind. But now it stick out like a sore thumb. Go to 29 and 10. I'll give you an example right quick, and I'll be through. 29 and 10 is Genesis. I think that, let me see if that's 29 and 10. 28 and 10, I think. Yeah, 28 and 10. 28 and 10. You there?
Yeah.
You there? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, I'm at 28 and 10. And Jacob went out from the Beersheba and went toward Haran, and he lit upon a certain place and tarried there all night because the sun was set. And he took the stones that were in that place and put them for his pillow and laid down in the place to sleep. You know the story about the stones, right? When Jacob laid his head on the stone?
Yeah.
You see what's there, though? It's Bathsheba. It's right there. But you didn't see the significance of that until you dove into it. You dove into it, and then you see that it's, when you find the meaning of it, it's a well, and it's a well of 7. Well, it's right next to Bethel. That's where the angels come in at. That's the portal where they come in at. And Abraham dug a well right there. Yeah. You did something? He made a covenant with Amalek right there. Then turned around, Isaac backdoored and came right back to the same spot. And made a covenant with Amalek right there. Ain't that something?
Do we know where that is on the map?
Yeah, it's right there about. It's let me see how you say. Let me get that right. If I'm not mistaken, it's where Abraham made the sacrifice to the Lord when Michael came and turned his hand from killing Isaac. That's the place where they built the temple at. So it's in that region. They call it if I'm not mistaken, they call it the stone of Abraham. The Temple Mount was built on the same place where Abraham went to sacrifice Isaac. And all that is the same reason, because if you look at 28 and 10, you'll see that Jacob went out from Bathsheba and went toward Haran. Well, where's Haran at? Haran is was where Abraham was dwelling at. That was their place of nativity. They was displaced from the land of Canaan because of what Canaan did. Canaan stole the land, so they was displaced to this area right here. Bathsheba, Haran, all this in the same area. The portal, Bethel, the house of bread, all this around the same area. And where he saw Abraham went looking for this place when he went to go sacrifice Isaac. So later on, when David was shown the temple, a vision of the temple, and showed all this that he was going to need to build it, and a blueprint of it, he viewed the same, he spied the same place out. Then he gave instructions to Solomon, and they built a temple in that same area. Yeah. Any more questions?
Sounds important.
You found it?
No, sounds important. I'm going to go look for it.
Oh yeah. I mean, you're going to be surprised when you're going to see that word now, though. That's the thing about it. So it's got all this. It's got this major significance to it, but we didn't see that. But now the light shined on it. And you start seeing it all over the place. All this major events going on with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is around this place. That's Bathsheba. And so, like I said, he set aside 7 ewe lambs, male lambs. I mean, it's hard to figure out what they was for. Yeah. So, anybody got any more questions before we go? Let me change the record now.